Rafi here. Hope you're doing well and keeping safe. So I've been playing Gran Turismo quite a lot in the recent months due to the whole COVID thing. So I've actually started to enjoy the game again. So I've been playing for God knows when. I think the PS2 days, but it was mainly for a few hours, after work and stuff like that. So I thought I'd share some content or journey, I should say, to really improve my driver's rating. There's only a few ways I could do that, and that's literally just to play more and to improve my driving style, really. So I've been put in this lobby with some really fast drivers, so I wasn't really sure whether I was ready for this. But let's see how it plans out. I know the top 3 or 4 are actually almost a second quicker than me in qualifying. Qualified 7th here for the race. One of my favourite racetracks in the game. So decided to use the Audi R8 as it's probably the favourite car for the track. So into turn 1, hard on the brakes. Just want to be a bit cautious here, don't want to take anyone out. So the main sort of plan was to just stay with the pack. Slipstream's really important here. As soon as you're out of the slipstream, you'll be losing at least around 2 or 3 hundredths of a second here. So into turn 4. So we've got Sam I-90 in P8, just keeping up with the rest of us. Into turn 5, which is a bit of a tricky corner because it's a bit downhill. Very easy to lose the rear end, so you'll have to be a bit patient on the throttle or even short shift a gear up. So just following everyone else into turn 9 now. So everyone's keeping it clean. So approaching turn 10, which is quite a heavy braking point. So just trying to keep my head down, get all the braking points right. It's very easy to overcook this corner, and if you do, you're going to get your tyres dirty. So they're slowly drifting away, and I'm trying my best to keep up. There is a bit of a gap between me and P8, so I can take a bit more risks. So we're approaching the slowest part of the track. Don't even get me started with these sausage curbs. So if you get it right, you can absolutely earn so much lap time. And if you get it wrong, you could potentially ruin your whole race. So as you can see, I'm outside the slipstream now, so there's not much I could do now. So I'm just trying to brake a bit later than I normally do, just to see if I could bring back a bit of time. So at the moment it's 1.1 seconds, so I'm just waiting on a maybe for one of them to make a mistake, or a lifeline really. So I can see someone's running wide there. I think it's P3 Supra. So the gap for P1 still around 2.2 seconds, so it's still anyone's race. Everyone just thinking that they could obviously go faster and really pull away from the rest of them. So just heading over to turn 7 and 8, definitely getting closer to the front pack, so 0.8 seconds. And approaching turn 9, ARC just decides to just whack me on the left side. We've got a 5-second penalty for Supra. I'm not sure how he got that. So going into turn 10, massive braking zone, 2 people got penalties. So if you look at the radar, we've got ARC who crashes into the Spaniard, and it just becomes a domino effect. And we've got Supra who just wants to top up his penalty to 8 seconds. I haven't seen anyone get a penalty for 8 seconds. It's no fault of his own. Definitely one for him to remember. So just getting the final set of corners right. Bit of oversteer into the straight. Just out of the slipstream. I've got a bit of pressure from the Spaniard on P6. So we just skip ahead as nothing really happens. So we're approaching the penalty area. So we've got Supra who's going to service penalty, so that's pretty much going to take him out of the race. And JD just absolutely bottles it. And I move up into P3. So this is actually a podium position that I could finish the race on. So I still have that Spaniard despite getting crashed into. So I've got 1.5 laps to go, so I just need to bring it home. So I'm just approaching the later stages of this lap, and I just ride the sausage curbs too much and then end up losing P3. I'm actually really annoyed that I made that mistake. I was driving really well for the whole race, when it really matters, I just end up just making a massive mistake, which may cost me a podium. So into the final lap, Sam I-90 is back in the game. He's only half a second behind me, so I just cannot lose P4. So I run a bit deep into turn 1. Luckily Sam isn't close enough to capitalise on that. So feeling the pressure here, I was really nervous at this point. P3 is definitely out of the question, so it's all about defending P4. So I can see Sam on the radar, he's very close. Is he going to make a move into this corner? Not yet. So just approaching turn 7 and 8, he's really close. Is he going for a move here? I just brake a bit too early. He ends up just giving me a slight tap. So I know definitely he's going to try something at this straight here. So I'll go semi-defensive, I'm sticking right in the middle, just trying to make my car as wide as possible. And then at last minute he dives in, but just outbrakes himself, and I managed to take P4 again. So it's really close. He backs out, which was probably a wise move because I was definitely not going to back out from that corner. So few corners left, just trying to bring it home. Just a bit cautious on these curbs again. Just getting a nice steady exit and just bringing it home. So this was really interesting race. I think I was so happy I just ended up driving on top of the grass. So it just goes to show that if you drive consistently, try not to make any mistakes, you're sort of guaranteed a good position. So really enjoyed that race. So on to the next race. So P2 in this lobby. I think this is probably where I should be with the same driver rating. So did a 45.3. I feel like I could go a little bit quicker, probably the low 45s. But I feel like I just need to improve my race pace, and then maybe get qualifying right. I get it, the higher you qualify, the better chance of finishing. So I'm sticking with the R8. I feel like the car works best for me. So race number 2, we've got Captain Zippy in P1. Just trying to follow him as much as I can to get as close as possible. A bit risky trying to go for a move in the first corner, and then all of a sudden we've got ART who just absolutely forgets where his brake pedal is, and I think it's just worth a replay on that. So he gets a 4-second penalty. Looking back at the replay, I think he just forgot or misjudged his braking point, which happens to everyone. So he's got a 4-second penalty, so I don't really need to put myself at any risk or try going for a move. I know he'll be serving this penalty either this lap or the next lap, so I just need to just keep him close, not let him get ahead, because my main priority now would be to watch out for P3 DBD. So, because I know once he serves his penalty, which is in this lap, it's going to drop down to, I think, P4, P5. So, I just run a bit too wide, so is that going to be a penalty for myself? So I'll get half a second penalty. So I was just trying to push a bit too much. The result of that, I get half a second penalty. So, at this stage, I've got clean air. I've got 3 laps to go, so I could really put the laps down and build my gap between myself and P2. So just trying to get the final set of corners right, and guess what? Gran Turismo penalty system working at its best. So just to add salt to the wound, I end up getting another half a second penalty. So Going into lap 2, I've got a second penalty. The gap isn't that big enough between myself and P2, so braking before the 100-meter board into turn 1, just hitting the apex. This is a really good track to practice to become faster. It's got a long straight, it's got fast corners, a very technical section at the end, and when you get it right, it's really rewarding. Also, I was just having a look at the replay, and it's quite interesting to see how many people actually drive their cars in automatic transmission. Now, I used to drive or play Gran Turismo, I should say, in automatic, and I guess it's obviously one less thing to worry about, not changing gears, but you sort of don't realise how much time you actually gain by driving manual. Right, anyways, I'm going to stop waffling on. So we're approaching turn 9, just about to serve my penalty. I'm thinking I should be okay. I'm serving it now. I'm just going to look back. He's coming in fast and he ends up getting P1. But he just outbrakes himself. He must be really annoyed there. I mean, if he was to brake just a little bit earlier, he would have been able to make that stick. But he's still P1, he's still leading the race, so all the pressure is on him. I'm right behind him, so both of us really get the last set of corners right. It's really important for him that he gets a really good exit, but I get an absolutely awesome exit and I'm right behind him on the straights. Now, this is my best opportunity to overtake him and get back my P1. So I'm following him as much as I can, and in the last minute just come out the slipstream, and it's literally who brakes first. So I actually brake a little bit early. He brakes a little bit late, but I managed to have the inside and I take back P1. I think there was a little bit of contact which probably runs him wide, gets his tyres dirty, and I think he ends up losing the position. So approaching turn 4, just braking before the bridge or the shadow, whichever you decide. So the brake goes down to P3, and we've got a guy from Cyprus repping his country in Gran Turismo. Why not? So as long as I don't make any mistakes, I keep it together, I could win this race. So we just skip ahead to the last lap. So just approaching turn 7 and 8. So the gap between myself and P2 is 1.7 seconds. So I definitely feel like I'm quicker than him. Certain parts of the track he's quicker. I've got no pressure from behind. So just into turn 10, and out of the corner I just get on the throttle a bit too early and almost throw the race away. I'm so lucky the car didn't go over the grass, because I'd have got my tyres dirty and that would be the end of that. So you can see the lead of 1.8 or 2 seconds I had is almost half a second. So trying not to make any more mistakes going into the final set of corners. Not running too wide, don't want a penalty at the last corner, and just bring the car home really. So shame about the mistake towards the end, but a win is a win. You can have good races in a lower ranked lobby. Personally, I would prefer to be up there, but that's going to take a lot more practice, so I'll get there eventually. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe and follow me on Instagram. I hope everyone stays safe, and I will see you next time. See ya.